Welcome to Let's Talk Pets with your host, Linda Weston, right here on News Talk 107.7 and 1400 The Hub.
Good Saturday morning, everyone, and welcome to Let's Talk Pets, a fun program. Very happy to be part of the fabulous Hub family lineup of programs. I'm Linda Weston, your host from Friends of Cookeville Putnam County Animals, a nonprofit, totally volunteer support group for the Cookeville Putnam County Animal Shelter. This morning, my co-host, Sarah Hollick-Webb from Friends of Cookeville Putnam County Animals, is with me here in the studio, and we are very happy to have returning with us today veterinarian Dr. Courtney Madewell from Best Friends Veterinary Hospital in Cookeville, located right here in Cookeville. So, Sarah, before we get started, let's just take a minute and thank our sponsors who make this show possible.
We are grateful to Pet Supplies Plus, located in the Walmart Shopping Center.
And Copeland Veterinary Hospital on 10th Street with 24-hour emergency service.
And Cumberland Pet Essentials, offering pet grooming, styling and spa, holistic foods, nutritional counseling, and a pet boutique at 142 South Willow in the Willow Tree Plaza.
And, of course, Friends of Cookeville Putnam County Animals. So many thanks to each of these groups. So now we get to say good morning, Dr. Madewell, and welcome back to Let's Talk Pets.
Hi there. How are you?
Well, you know, we're so glad to have you with us because you got the veterinary hospital here in Cookeville is a sister to the veterinary Best Friends Veterinary in Crossville. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, so we are an extension of our Best Friends Crossville office, which is a full operational hospital with emergency and critical care and ICU. They do some major surgeries and everything like that over there. Here, we are more like your family practice, like the extension of the hospital that sees wellnesses. You know, if you have ear infections, we do see some emergencies. If you walk in my door, I'm absolutely going to take care of you, but we might have to transfer you for overnight care. We don't provide overnight care after our emergencies. A lot of people get confused by the word hospital, so I want to make sure you guys understand that too.
Do you do spay neuter here?
We do. We do spay neuters. I do lots of surgeries, do a lot of dentals.
Okay.
Most of our stuff we do keep at day procedures. If there's something that is more critical, we can absolutely perform it, but again, have to transfer for overnight care.
Okay.
We don't like to leave pets in the hospital without staff to monitor them overnight.
Good thinking.
Yeah.
Good thinking.
Yeah.
Well, now that summer weather is heating up, we wanted to talk today a little bit about just the dangers of summer heat and your pets, with one of those things being, and I hate to see it or say it, I see it when people leave their pets in their car during these summer days. Even now, it's not really, really hot, but it's too hot for your pet.
I sat in my car just a few minutes ago with it off for like 5 minutes and was like, no, thank you. That's too much. After about an hour of the car being closed, windows rolled up, and the car being off, the temperature can raise by about 43 degrees. After about an hour and a half, about 48 degrees. So if it's 90 degrees outside, that's an internal temperature of 138 degrees.
You're already gone. Yeah.
Is not livable. That is not okay.
Right.
At 70 degrees, it can get up to 113 degrees inside your car. So even at 70, we're like, oh, it's no big deal. Like, it's not that hot. It's like an oven inside your car. So we don't want to risk that. Definitely, I would not leave your dog in your car for any amount of time, especially during the hot summer months. And especially, not even in the car, but even taking those brachycephalic breeds outside. Brachycephalic meaning your squished face. So bulldogs, pugs, Boston Terriers, boxers, any of them that have that squished face and wrinkly nose, they tend to have a lot of upper respiratory issues and just respiratory issues in general that makes cooling down very difficult for them. So just the hot summer months in general, going outside on a long walk could be enough to overheat those breeds. So you want to be very careful.
And, those breeds are particularly sensitive to the heat and to getting heat exhaustion and overheating. But pretty much any dog can be, I think sometimes we just shrug it off and be like, oh, they're dogs, they're used to being outside. Well, no, any dog can overheat given the right temperatures. And we have to be very, very careful and very vigilant as to the conditions that we let our pets outside to play, to walk, and all of this during the summer when it's getting hot. And sometimes even if it doesn't feel that hot to us, it can be very hot to them and on some sensitive areas of their body too. So one of the things that we've seen in the past doing dog activities and things like that, or even in the parks, is heat exhaustion and pets overheating. So what are some kind of common symptoms and some things that you can look out for heat exhaustion in your pet?
Sure. So the most common thing is you're going to see excessive panting. So you're going to see them really sitting down and panting to try and cool off to the point where it's very fast, and just looking at them is distressing. Disorientation. Their gums can be bright red to blue. If they're not getting enough air that's going through, their gums will turn blue. They collapse, seizures. Sometimes you will see vomit and diarrhea with that as well. The best thing that you can do at that point in time is obviously get them to a vet as quickly as possible. Most of the time that is very critical, and getting them cooled down in the safest way possible is going to be the best thing for those pets. I don't recommend using ice. Ice cools them too quickly and can cause some other problems. I do recommend getting them into a cool place. If you're out and car is the best place that you can get that AC on and get that dog in the car with some cool water, not iced water. And then do try to get them to a vet. Most of the time, if the internal body temperature is over about 106 to 107, it's very life-threatening.
Well, Sarah, remember with Bark in the Park, I think we had an experience like that. And actually, I think you
was
were
there. Yeah, I was there.
It was a dog that had just come off the lure course.
Yeah.
And the dog was so happy to be running on the lure course and just went on, and then had some problems. So what were the signs that you saw that we knew that dog was in distress?
I do believe that dog in particular had collapsed and was panting very heavily. Gums were, the mucus and the saliva was very thick and white, and the gums were getting very, very red. So we did get that dog into a car with AC with some cool water. Right. The paw pads are actually, dogs don't sweat. We sweat to cool down. We can sweat over our entire body, and we have a large surface area that can cool down very quickly with sweat. Dogs don't do that. They only sweat out of their paw pads. They have to cool down by exchanging oxygen and carbon dioxide with breathing. Okay. And so that's why they pant so heavily. So the other thing that you can do is get that cool water on their feet. That does help to decrease the temperature. Well, so we did that and got him to a vet. To a clinic.
I remember that. I remember we got him under a canopy until we could get the car there. Yeah. Crazy stuff. Well, speaking of paw pads, I'm amazed at sometimes how hot surfaces get, not only pavement, but just, wooden deck surfaces for your pet's paws. So how fast how hot does it have to be for your pet's paws to get sizzled?
Not real hot. At about 80 degrees, concrete can be 95 degrees with our asphalt at 115. At 90 degrees air temperature, the concrete can be about 125 degrees Fahrenheit and asphalt 140. That doesn't take long to burn the paw pads. And they get red and ulcerated pretty quickly. I mean, if you want to test this theory, just go outside with your bare feet and walk across the pavement and see how quickly your feet get real hot.
Exactly.
Our dogs have that same experience.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So when you look at your pet's paw, can you actually see blisters?
Yes.
Or you can?
Okay. Yeah, so they have the paw pads. If you look, like people call them toe beans. They're really cute toe beans. But if you look at the paw pads on bottom, that is a thicker skin. So they are more durable. It's kind of like having calloused heels. So they are a little bit more durable than our feet are. But you can see when those start to blister up, they will turn white. They will actually have little bubbles and blisters on them, and usually those will break open. And once the paw pads are injured, those are so hard to get to heal because it is very hard to tell a dog to not walk on them. So
how do you bandage them up, or what do you do?
It is a marathon, not a sprint. Lots of bandaging and rebandaging and medication. If there are lacerations, sometimes you can suture them, but that's difficult to get them to heal as well.
I'm really glad that we're talking about this because I think a lot of people just think their paw pads are very able to.
They're indestructible.
Exactly. They're tough. They can do that. And
they are not hooves. They're not. Yeah, they are.
They don't have shoes on. Yeah, exactly.
Shoes.
Exactly.
Well, there's other things. We love so much to be outside during the summer. We love to be outside with our pets, of course. But there are lots of hazards, and these are just a few of them: the heat, the concrete and asphalt. The other thing that can also be a problem for our pets are some of the things that we don't think about that we use to maintain our lawns and gardens. This time of year, we're putting out fertilizers, we're doing pesticides because bugs are crazy already.
Yes, they are.
You're planting, you're mulching, you're doing all of those things outside that we all do to our homes, but sometimes these can be real hazards to our pets, particularly the chemicals, the fertilizers, the pesticides. Do you guys see poisonings like this very often? And, of course, what can we do to prevent that?
There are a lot of ways that fertilizer or just things in our yard can cause issues. We do. And, to be honest, sometimes we don't actually diagnose specifically unless somebody comes in and says, I know my dog ate this or got into a bag of fertilizer. Sure. Mm-hmm. And at that point in time, there are so many different products out there and they all cause different things. I typically have them call the pet poison hotline first. And that is a site, a phone number, there's a website as well, that they actually have access to databases for all of these chemicals. And they come up with a treatment plan. You get a case number. There is a cost to it, but in my mind, it is totally worth knowing whether or not I can watch my dog at home. Do I need to go in immediately for emergency care? And not only that, once they have that, they have the case number, give it to your veterinarian. Your veterinarian has a treatment plan that they can go ahead and treat. And they know specifically, it takes a lot of the legwork off us because we don't always know all of the chemicals that are out there. But that pet poison hotline helps us out a whole lot. The fertilizers can have toxic components that can cause vomiting, diarrhea, breathing trouble. You can get burns. Like if they eat it, that might burn the inside of their mouth, their esophagus, or their stomach. Disorientation, seizures, those would be the kind of things. And then with mulch, I worry about foreign body risk. So if they eat it and it gets stuck, that's the biggest thing. Our dogs like to eat mulch, and some of those mulches actually do have some toxic components where it can cause some burning on the inside as well. So try to keep them from eating that stuff.
We've talked about that cocoa mulch being not good for them.
And a lot of mulches are dyed now, of course. Mm-hmm. So there's all kinds of issues that we just simply don't think about.
Well, that is really good advice. The poison hotline, is that a number that's readily found?
There's actually two. Yes, there is. And I didn't come prepared with that phone number. The pet poison hotline, you can actually just Google it. It'll give you the website, the information and phone number. There is also an ASPCA poison control hotline. Great. So when we say poison control, don't call your human poison control. Call specifically for pets. They have veterinarians that will be able to talk you through some of that. Okay.
Well, that's great to know because your pet really can't tell you what they ate per se. So that's a good thing.
Correct.
To do that. So folks, if you happen to notice that your pet's having some odd symptoms, whether it's from heat exhaustion, paw pad troubles, or you think they've gotten into something, follow Dr. Madewell's advice. You can call the pet poison hotline if you think that if they've eaten something, ingested something like that, or call Dr. Madewell at Best Friends Veterinary Hospital on 650 South Jefferson Avenue. So they're very local. Her phone number is area 931-881-2037. So did you... Oh,
pet poison helpline.
Well, you go ahead and tell.
Okay, yeah. So the pet poison helpline, you can go to petpoisonhelpline.com or you can call 855-764-7661. And that would be for the pet poison helpline. The ASPCA poison control is 888-426-4435.
Great. That is great information. So remember, Dr. Madewell can be reached at Best Friends Veterinary Hospital on Jefferson, 931-881-2037. So, gosh, we've got lots more to talk about. Let's take just a quick break. Don't go away, folks. We will be right back with more Let's Talk Pets on News Talk 107.7 and 1400, The Hub.
Copeland Veterinary Hospital is a full-service veterinary hospital, including 24-hour emergency assistance, and is located at 821 East 10th Street in Cookeville, focusing on providing the highest quality care to clients and patients through our devotion to client communication, commitment to excellent medical care, and use of innovative diagnostics. Founded in 1970, our veterinarians and support staff can provide a progressive, beneficial, and effective impact on your pet's health. Open Monday through Thursday, 7:30 a.m. to 7:30 p.m., Friday, 7:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m., Saturdays from 8 a.m. to noon, and closed on Sunday.
Pet Supplies Plus, located in the Walmart Shopping Center on South Jefferson, is open 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. daily, specializing in pet foods, treats, and edible chews, pet toys, and apparel, pet supplies of all kinds, grooming and health, as well as flea and tick items, offering all major brands and a large selection of natural foods and treats made in the USA. Fish, reptiles, ferrets, and other very small pets available.
Cumberland Pet Essentials has been serving Middle Tennessee since 1989, offering dog and cat grooming and styling. In their natural pet market, they sell dog and cat supplies, accessories, and high-quality trusted brands of food and treats. Owner Karen Rataco is an ISCC certified pet stylist and a certified pet nutritionist. She offers free nutritional counseling, helping owners make healthier choices for their pets. Their store hours are Monday through Saturday, 8 to 5 p.m., located at 142 South Willow Avenue in the Willow Tree Plaza. Give them a call, 931-528-7711, Cumberland Pet Essentials.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Pets with me, your host, Linda Weston, and Cookeville, Putnam County Animals Vice President Sarah Hollick-Webb on News Talk 107.7 and 1400, The Hub. So Sarah and I have been talking today with Dr. Courtney Madewell. She is a veterinarian at Best Friends Veterinary Hospital right here in Cookeville. And we've been talking about keeping your pet safe in summer weather, of which summer weather appears to be here. And in Tennessee, warmer weather seems to bring out critters that we don't always want our pets to tangle with, but unfortunately sometimes they do. So we want to talk a little bit today about what do you do if your pet should encounter a snake and, heaven forbid, get bitten. So tell us, what do we do?
So the first thing I will tell you to do is if you see it happen and you can identify or collect the snake for identification, that's ideal. That way we can know if it's poisonous or not.
Okay.
The non-poisonous snakes should prove a pretty harmless bite.
Okay.
Should not need too much intervention. The snakes that we see around here that do cause the most problems be your copperheads. By far the number one that we see the most problem with.
Okay.
We do see some rattlesnakes. They're actually starting to creep into the area a little bit more. We are seeing more of those, but not nearly as often as a copperhead. Copperhead bite is going to cause a localized reaction. So swelling, inflammation. If it's in a leg, we'll have limping. If it's in a face, it could cause a little bit more problems just with breathing. But most of the time, that can be handled with some outpatient care. I do recommend contacting your veterinarian and getting your dog in to be seen to make sure that everything's going to be okay and get some treatment on board. If you are in a position where you cannot, then Benadryl. If you can give Benadryl to your dog, it is over the counter. 1 milligram per pound is typically what we would recommend. And you can give that as soon as you see the swelling and know that we've been bit. I'd still contact your veterinarian after that. But that is an emergency care that I would have with you, especially if you're down at the lake or you're out hiking. It's not a bad idea to keep in your little first aid kit. With rattlesnakes, that's a different story. That can be life-threatening, and I recommend emergency care immediately.
Okay.
I'll tell you, my first year out of vet school in this area, I'm from Texas, so we saw rattlesnakes all the time.
Okay.
And there are rattlesnake vaccines. We don't keep them much around here. Actually, I don't know anybody around here who keeps them because we just don't have a huge population. But in Texas, that was something that we did, and it did save some lives. And around here, there is anti-venom, but I think Chattanooga is the closest place you're going to find that. So we don't keep it anywhere here around Cookeville. My first year out, my first night on emergency, I get a snake bite. Of course. Of course. And I'm, being from Texas, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's a rattlesnake, So I call my mentor. I was like, what kind of snakes do we have around here? And how do you treat it? And he called me. He's like, oh, it's copperhead. This is what you do. Well, out of just my own knowledge, I told them, I said, look, draw a circle around the spot where it has been bit, because there was a little bit of bruising around it. So that is something else you can do. If there's bruising, draw a circle. If within 24 hours that bruising is 50% outside of that circle or more, then emergency, go to your veterinarian. A copperhead shouldn't really do that. This dog came in, was pretty painful. I had nothing really to compare it to. So I had them draw the circle and said, if this gets any worse, you need to come back immediately. Treated like a copperhead. The dog came back the next morning. His entire leg was purple. Oh, gosh. And it had been a rattlesnake bite, and they had drawn a circle in Sharpie around the little spot. And it was maybe the size of a quarter. And by the next day, not even 24 hours, the leg was purple and swollen. That dog did survive, but it needed in hospital care for almost a week. So rattlesnakes can be deadly. we definitely want to watch out for those.
Well, Sarah and I have a friend whose lab
has repeat encounters.
Has had, yes, repeat, and she's got a black lab, so it'd be hard to draw a circle around the spot.
Yeah,
but
this was a white Jack Russell, so
she could see where the snake had bitten both the face of the dog and the shoulder, I think it was, and just exactly what you said, major swelling. She was able to get Benadryl down and get to the vet, but the dog was in the hospital for several days, I think, almost didn't make it.
And the other thing to know about snakes, too, is you have your juveniles and your adults. Your juvenile snakes, when they bite, they don't have control of their venom. So they can bite and inject an enormous amount of venom.
Really?
Yeah, and some of your adults can have false strikes, so they can strike and not release any of their venom. They have more control over how much will come out.
Okay.
So also, like I said, identifying that snake and being able to tell if it's an adult, a juvenile, or what kind of snake it is also super helpful for us in treating the patient.
I guess that means you have to get close
to the snake.
Well, if you're in the problem.
If you can some people kill them. Some people kill the snake. And if you can do that and get us, or a picture is helpful
picture
too.
Would be good.
Yeah.
Picture would be
I don't
good.
recommend that you put yourself in harm's way to collect this snake. But if it is possible, or if you saw it and you're like, hey, I know that's what that was.
Sure.
That's helpful.
Sure.
Well, we're going to switch gears just a little bit in that, you have a really unique repertoire of pets that you can see and that you regularly see, as far as it goes beyond just cats and dogs.
Yeah.
It goes into what we would consider in this area exotic. So what all critters do you see?
So I will put a disclaimer out in the fact that I am not a board certified exotic veterinarian. However, I do have a lot of experience. I did a lot of exotics in school and then coming out of school. It's actually something I love. I would have loved to have been a zookeeper or gone into zoo medicine. So I get to help you guys out in seeing your favorite little pets too. I see reptiles, birds, small mammals like ferrets, gerbils, hamsters, guinea pigs, rabbits. I don't see spiders, amphibians, fish, or monkeys. So no primates. I have had phone calls. I have had phone calls about them, but I do not see them. And I don't see any farm animals. So that does include like chicken, ducks, and turkeys.
Okay.
That's just falls into a whole other category of things. But I do love seeing my reptiles and birds, and it's a growing. I'm seeing my clientele is growing a lot as far as those kinds of patients and pets, and they're a lot of fun to see. My staff loves it. They love it.
Well, I see regularly on your social media.
Yeah.
You guys posting, just fun pictures of the various clients that you've had in the course of a day of all shapes and sizes.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of fun to follow you guys on there too.
Yeah.
Well, we've had several guests on the show that have gone to you and said,
good.
she's the exotic.
We do have some limitations when it comes to our exotics. I can do a lot of basics, but again, like our dogs and cats, I can't overnight hospitalize. I don't provide emergency care. That does require some specialized equipment that I don't have. So I do refer those guys to the University of Tennessee College of Veterinary Medicine. It's the closest place with the most extensive treatment options. But we do a lot of your basics, so your bird nails and wings and beaks. We can draw blood. We can take x-rays. We can do a lot. I just like to let people know. So if you call and you're like, hey, can you do this? I'll be like, yes, I'll let you know on the front end what we can do and give you the opportunity to, if you need more emergent or intensive care, to go there first. But we love to see them.
Well, it's great to know that you're the one to call for that because people do. We know lots of people.
Well, and we just had a great show on pocket pets.
Right.
Speaking about the small mammals and, that growing popularity as well.
Yeah.
So it goes right hand in hand with what you're saying, and that you're seeing more of these clients come in.
I see a lot of rabbits and guinea pigs. And I've been able to really get better with my medicine with that, and I've enjoyed it a lot. So.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, one of the other little things, it's actually not little, it's a big thing that we want to talk about today, is just remind everybody how important flea and tick and heartworm meds are for your pets, even though it's summer and you may think your pet doesn't go outside much or whatever, but I'll tell you, the fleas and the ticks are out in full force right now.
I don't think the fleas ever went away. I saw them year round.
Did you?
Yeah, I really did. You might get a little bit of a lag between December and February, but for the most part, the fleas are fleas are there. I would recommend treatment year-round. Ticks. We were talking about ticks just before the show started, and that is becoming an increasing number, even more year-round. I am seeing them earlier in the seasons. And we are seeing a lot more tick-borne diseases, especially some that we haven't seen as predominantly in this area as in other areas that we are starting to see now, like Lyme disease. I've diagnosed or had positive Lyme disease checks here in the last year more than I have in the last 10 years.
Really?
Yeah, and it's concerning. Lyme disease the body can fight it off or it can get sick from it. So we definitely want to monitor. Best thing that you can do is keep those ticks off your dogs. There are a lot of really good medications out there right now for prevention. And the good ones are all prescription. So you do have to see your veterinarian to get a hold of those. The over-the-counter ones, some of them still work, but we have much better technology, and some of our bugs are getting resistant to them, to the older ones over the counter. So I would talk to your veterinarian about what the best option is for you, and what your lifestyle is for your pet. But tick prevention is super important. We see another disease from ticks called Ehrlichia. That's probably the most common thing around here. Ehrlichia can cause kidney failure, low platelets, so bleeding problems, and anemia. So I see a lot of that, actually.
Well, what if you don't realize that your pet has been bitten by a tick? What are there signs that, or is it just generally your pet isn't acting well?
You may not ever know that your dog's been bitten by a tick.
Right.
And I guess I should speak about cats too. There is a fatal one in cats called cytoxoan or bobcat fever that we do see from tick exposure as well. So important to keep those guys covered as well. Just being bit by a tick doesn't mean that they're going to get sick. It's if they get bit by a tick with one of those tick-borne diseases or one of those infectious diseases. And what you would notice if they're sick from any of those would be lethargy. So they're tired, they don't really want to do anything. They might stop eating, stop drinking, and depending on what organ system is affected, the ones that cause anemia, you'll see their gums be real pale and they'll be real tired. That's the biggest thing. If their kidneys are affected, you're going to see vomiting and decreased appetite, increased drinking, and increased urination. If Lyme disease affects the heart, the kidney, and the joints, those are the three main things. So the heart disease, coughing, again, lethargy, not wanting to do anything. Okay. And then it can cause like a rheumatic arthritis, so limping. And the limping can happen not just what we call shifting leg lameness, so not being able to do just one leg, but several legs, and it's not really consistent. So achy.
Do humans have the same reactions to
they
Lyme
do.
disease?
Lyme disease actually causes very similar conditions in humans as it does in dogs.
Well, there's just so much. There's so much to be aware of.
We can have a whole show on this one.
Yeah, there's so much to be aware of, just with our pets in general in the summer. We just wanted to also remind people that the spring and the warmer weather brings out something that we call kitten season at the shelter that we kind of look at not very fondly, but we do.
Even though we love those kittens.
We love those kittens, but it can bring in a huge population of these cats and their babies in the shelter right now. And we have a bunch of precious little kittens right now that are available for adoption. So if you're interested in fostering, or if you just simply want to if you want to help out and bring by some supplies, the shelter is in desperate need of kitten formula, cat food, kitten food, could be canned or dry. Just toys, disposable foil pans that we use for litter pans, non-clumping cat litter, and the list goes on and on and on. So if you feel compelled to, we would love some help with all of our nursery full of baby kittens right now.
Exactly. And remember too, if you didn't catch all of this show today, maybe you just tuned in to the second part, but you really want to hear the first part too, or you want to recommend it to a friend, you can now go on our YouTube channel and hear any of the recent shows at your convenience. So just go to youtube.com and then pull up C/P, C stands for Cookeville, Putnam County. So CPC Animal Friends, and you can hear any of the shows. You can also follow us on Facebook at Cookie and Putter, and on our website at www.friendsofcpcanimals.org. So that is our show for today. Thank you so much, Dr. Madewell, for being with us today. You are always a wonderful guest and so knowledgeable. So thank you, listeners, for tuning in. If you have any questions or comments, please do email them to us at putnamcountypets@gmail.com. We're wishing everyone a perfect weekend. Hope you'll join us here next Saturday on News Talk 107.7 and 1400, The Hub.
Friends of Cookeville Putnam County Animals is a 501c3 nonprofit, all-volunteer support group for the Cookeville Putnam County Animal Shelter. For more information, visit